So last week I posted a TikTok and on my Instagram a slide of the best female rage books that I've read, and I wanted to go a bit more into depth about each one. And I got some comments on TikTok about how they've never heard of these and they saved it immediately because of that, and that was just like such a big compliment first of all, but also like validated how much I love these books, which is stupid, but it was true. So I wanted to talk more about them a little bit. The first one that I spoke about was Secret Voices by Sarah Griswold. Essentially, I've spoken about this book a lot in the last year since I read it, and it's essentially a diary entry a day by famous people spanning over centuries. So literally, like, I'm trying to think of like some of the people in it. Oh, what's her name? The one who wrote Mary Shelley. So like from Mary Shelley to like Emma Thompson, right? And it's literally, there's literally nothing else but diary entries. Nothing else but diary entries. And yet it is one of the most complex, beautiful, sad books ever. And it's all real, none of it's fictional. And you really do sense all the female rage. There is so much representation throughout the book of POC women and loads of queer women and seeing how like you may not even know that they're queer or POC, but as women all of our stories are so combined. And yeah, it was just crazy. It's a crazy read. I loved it. Then I spoke about The Instrumentalist. This one I didn't know how to feel until like near the end, but it's essentially about an orphan born with an unbeatable skill at violin that causes the men in her life to envy her, because they are also violinists. And she basically near the end gets the opportunity to either step into that role of being hated by men or let them continue berating women and grooming them and things like that. And I won't spoil it, but it's so brilliant. It's so good. The Book of Difficult Fruit, I've read this like 2 years ago and I still speak about it to this day. It was a beautiful kind of sentimental large monologue almost of grief in the form of recipes and food and just like how we link things in our life to food, but it was like from obviously Kate Labour's perspective, and it was just like a natural kind of personal female rage. Again, I always talk about this book. It's my favourite book of 2024, one of my favourite books of all time. Little Weirds by Jenny Slate. I also do mention Lifeform by Jenny Slate. I think this is the ultimate female rage writer, even though again it's all non-fiction. I just feel like we know how to be honest about our lives, and like sometimes putting it into fictional stories doesn't work as well as just telling our stories. Jenny Slate is fucking mental and I love her to pieces. Little Weirds was brilliant, but what I loved about Lifeform, because first I listened to the audiobooks and I highly recommend because they're read by Jenny Slate herself, but what I loved about Lifeform as well was she screams. There's like a whole chapter where she's genuinely just screaming. I'm like, that's a bit of me. Accurate. Love it. Blue Hour by Tiffany Clark Harrison, a nameless woman of colour struggling to get pregnant in an already difficult world. So powerful. It was just such a powerful book, and I feel like people have tried to do this before and hasn't worked as well, whereas this one was just stunning. A recent read of mine, which was An Apprenticeship or the Book of Pleasures by Clarice Lispector, which is about a woman who has to grow and heal to accept real love, even if it means being apart from her lover. Been there, done that, and I resonated so much with the female rage in this book of like, I'm so frustrated that like I have to be this amazing fucking human to like be happy. Like that's what's expected of me. Great. Another book that I constantly talk about, I read it last year, been speaking about it ever since, Unspeakable Shaking Pleasures by Lucy Debussy. Questionable fantasies of several fictional women. It's just loads of short stories, and I would call it smart, but some of it is also a bit questionable. So okay, but it's just the ability of like a woman can want whatever the fuck she wants, you know. Then Stillborn by Guadalupe Nettle, similar to Blue Hour. It's about the struggles of motherhood and grief and being a woman. It was just a hard read, but it's an accurate read, you know. It's one of those. And I've read so many in general. I think there's also loads of books that try to be female rage and just aren't. Like the one that first pops into my head is The Year of Rest and Relaxation, which I hate more than anything on the planet. Because I just think it's like a desperate attempt to, I'm quirky and cool, and so I'm gonna be depressed and like not shower, and it's like that's not female rage at all. It's not at all. And whether that's done at the, you know, by the author themselves or the readers, that's up to one's opinion. But for me, I love real books where we are talking about genuine fucking anger. Like, just being a woman fucking sucks for a minute, you know? Like, I love being a woman, but we are so fucking, like, for lack of a better word, oppressed. And I think especially some of these books spanning over centuries, years, you know, being real, not fictional. I think, like, well, some of them are fictional, but some of them being non-fiction, most of them being non-fiction. It's like, yes, like, I love this, this is real, I relate, I understand this is not made up, like, it's just like translated perfectly, and I'm so passionate, if you cannot tell, about them. So anyways, those were my favourite female rage books. Let me know what yours are, and I will see you in the next video. Love you, bye.